Hello, everyone, and welcome to the As Seen on TV. Why am I in a forest? Welcome to the As Seen on TV podcast for the Vampire Diaries, Season 5, Episode 10, 50 Shades of Grayson. I am your host, Dom. With me, I have Umikins.
Hey.
And Michael.
Honey, you called me a dork.
Why?
I see
What?
in a forest.
He was in a forest.
Dom's clearly the dork here.
No, he was clearly in a forest.
All right, I'm going to take this back. Hi, everybody. I'm Mike. How you doing?
Yeah,
Now we're all in a forest.
exactly.
We're all special.
And I have Elena, Damon, and where is she? Catherine. There she is.
Mm-hmm.
Stefan, I don't care about. He's
off.
We don't even want to know where he is right now. So, how are you guys tonight?
Quite well.
Pretty good.
I would ask you guys what you thought of this episode, but I actually was there in person and watched it with you.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess for the people at home that were not all in your living room watching this, how'd you like this episode?
I don't know. I guess it's at that point in the season where I'm like, there should be more to want to see anyways. Like, not a lot happens, and there's not much action. It just kind of lacks, and they're just doing a lot of storytelling right now.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but almost every season of Vampire Diaries, I've gotten halfway through the season, just lost interest for a while. And it's getting to that point in this season.
We're halfway there.
I know, it's so weird.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the weirdest thing. The halfway point, I just like, and then a week or two will go by, and I'll be like, yeah, back into it. It's just the weirdest freaking thing.
Yeah, they have to go through their ups and downs during a season, otherwise,
Yeah, I guess that's the point. You know, this is one of those downs, but it should go up in the next episode or two. But unfortunately, we gotta wait a while for that up.
See,
Mm-hmm.
I always think, like, when they introduce a character, like, we had, Catherine was, like, the big villain in the first season, right? And then we finally see her at the end, and it's like, all right, well, what's worse than Catherine? She's pretty bad. And then all of a sudden, it's the originals, and you have, like, Klaus coming in, and then it's like, what's worse than Klaus? And then it's like, oh, his whole family.
And it's like, what's worse than the whole family?
And then you have Silas, the original vampire, immortal being, whatever he is. And you're like, what's worse than that? And you're like, you really can't. You're already there. You're at the top. Where can you go from here?
And now it's humans experimenting on vampires.
And it's literally a mad scientist. It's kind of crazy when you think about it. Like,
Yeah.
Mad Scientist is equally just as devastating as some of the other ones because he's bringing different challenges to them. He's literally threatening the vampire species with other vampires. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
It is kind of crazy, and it's, kind of like one of those out from left field threats.
Yeah.
Because I mean, we've been dealing with supernatural threats the whole time. It's two vampires and their high school crush. Then okay, so like you said, big bad guy is a 500-year-old vampire. Then the big bad guy is an original vampire, and then it's the whole family. And then their father gets thrown in there, but he's kind of on their side, ish. And then the immortal, and now just all of a sudden, let's not have a supernatural. Let's have just an ordinary old random schmuck with a biology degree, a microbiology degree, who's playing around with blood and stuff.
Well, I mean, it's not like it just poofed out of nowhere.
No, it's not.
People have been around for a long time.
But
So
he is clearly...
It's always been a threat, but
Yeah.
it's now when they want to start making those changes and those steps to actually making vampires feed on each other and things like that.
And I mean, Wes is clearly the most successful out of all those experimenters.
Yeah, we've seen some of the other ones in action.
Well,
And I would think that's a
not true.
combination.
That's not true because you never saw really. You saw the other flashbacks with Damon and Enzo, where the scientists they have the same thing every year. like, oh look, vampire blood can cure. Hoo, 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 let's get drunk. And then there's, Elena's father. He used it for good, but you never saw anything. You only heard a little bit of the story about Megan and how it cured her.
Right.
So I mean, you don't know if it's all like if Wes is the most, if he's the most profitable in his experiments, whereas Jonathan Gilbert was his name, right?
Yeah.
He obviously he was making same steps but in a different direction.
Right, and I should clarify my points.
It was not Jonathan Gilbert. John Gilbert was Elena's actual father.
Okay.
He was the one that at the end of season 1.
He was a Gilbert. I'm just gonna.
His name was Grayson Gilbert.
Okay. He was a Gilbert.
Anyway,
Doesn't matter.
I need to clarify my point that I meant. He seems the most scientifically successful, like making the most progress in understanding the basic,
Well,
like
I mean,
ways he can alter the blood and do crazy shit with it. Other than, vampire blood heals people. That's a basic property you could figure out just by having some person drink it.
but I mean, just regular in doses of vampire blood wasn't curing Megan. He had to scientifically change it so that it would cure her completely. So you're still kind of not making point there.
Okay, he just seems like the most evil because he's got a friggin' laboratory full of infectious diseases. That's evil, man. Come on.
Yeah.
Well,
He's
a lot
one of the more diabolicals.
to be fair, a lot of non-diabolical people work with infectious diseases every day to make cures. So you know what?
I know that, but they're working in big laboratories and pharmaceutical companies and shit like this. This is just one lone man on a college campus, and he's got samples of Ebola.
College funding.
Sure, college funding.
So, we start the episode off. Damon is trying to break out of the cell. Mm-hmm. He picks up a bullet that Dr. West drops earlier in the previous episode. They show a little flashback to remind you that that's exactly what happened. And it's just at a great... He grabs it, he puts it in the lock. He makes it detonate, explode, whatever you want to call it, with cement. The lock goes and it's still locked. And then he just starts kicking it. He's in this last ditch desperation act. The door swings open. Were you guys expecting him to escape so quickly and on his own?
No.
I mean, we kind of cheated with previews and we saw that he was out right away. So yes, I was expecting him to get out. But I mean, if I didn't see the preview, I would have been like, wow, that was lucky for him.
I wasn't expecting it. I mean, I don't think I saw the preview, so I mean.
Well, we were talking about it last week. We were talking about it last week. It was in the synopsis, rather. But, I mean, were you guys surprised that he freed himself so easily?
I'm surprised it was in, the first 2 minutes of the episode, practically.
Well, I mean, he had this huge plan. He had that bullet. He got it, and it didn't even budge. And then he was just kind of, slammed on the bars, and it opened up. And he was kind of he was just as shocked as everyone else, Oh, shit, I'm out. Okay, let's go.
See, I expected, Elena to rescue him, or Damon, Damon. Stefan, or Catherine, or, I didn't expect him to get out on his own. Even remote possibility, I was expecting Enzo to get him out again. As remote as that was, I did not expect him to get out on his own.
Elena couldn't have saved him because she was in Mystic Falls at the time. She had been transported.
But we still had not known this at that point.
No, we didn't know that, but she couldn't have.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good plan. Stick the bullet in there, damage the internals of the lock, and just a nice couple of kicks was all it needed after that. Yeah. So, if he didn't use the bullet, he wouldn't have gotten out. So it was a combination effort.
Yeah.
Although his face when it opened.
Immediately following this, we cut to Catherine waking up in bed with Stefan. Do you think this was good for Stefan to get over Elena?
He's never going to get over her. Just like he's still not over Catherine from so long ago. She's done some shitty things to him, but he still cares for her.
I mean,
And it's going to be the same with Elena, too.
It's getting over it's basically getting over your ex-wife by screwing her twin sister. Like, will that actually get you over your ex-wife when it's a complete, total copy of her,
I
like
feel like I've
physically?
seen something like this with Sarah Michelle Gellar.
Oh,
Ringer.
Oh,
that
yeah,
show.
that show's bad. I
I
liked it,
gave
but it was bad.
I gave it its fair chance, but it was bad.
Yeah. So, what do you think Catherine's feeling about this? Like, she looks like she wants nothing more than to be with Stefan.
Well, she's doing the human thing and she's obsessing about it.
Yeah, she is. She's kind of. I find it funny, like, her and Elena have basically traded places in certain aspects.
Yeah,
But
they definitely have.
yeah, she's enjoying it now, and now she's obsessing, like
But
Omi just said.
for some reason, Elena dealt very well with being human. Catherine wants to die.
Well, she is dying and she sees herself dying and she doesn't like it.
Yeah, but also you got to realize Elena was born human and was nothing but human up to that point, so she dealt with it well. Catherine was born human and then spent 500 years as a vampire. Now she's human again. She's kind of like forgotten.
Yeah, it's a downgrade for sure.
It's a major downgrade, and it sucks for her. So,
Yeah. Well, then we cut back to Mystic Falls, but we don't know we're back in Mystic Falls yet, as Umi had actually pointed out. But this is also Elena's father's office. Like, the last time we saw this place, I'm not sure if you guys caught this, but the last time we saw this place was in season 1. And this is where they rounded all the vampires up and burned them.
and I didn't catch that.
So, do you think that was a good place for Dr. Maxfield to conduct his experiments?
Hell yeah.
If he was quiet about it, nobody would go checking. It's a pretty much burnt building, so unless someone's gonna try to renovate it, which obviously nobody was going to do that, they wouldn't have found him.
Yeah, I mean, if you looked after he hung up the phone with Damon, and he walks down the stairs are all burned. They're all charred, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a few scenes where I was like, I went back and I watched the scene from the first season. I'm like, there was a pillar that like completely collapsed. Like you watch the beam fall down, and I was like, eh. And then I went back and rewatched the scene in this season, and that broken pillar is there. You can see it. So they did a pretty good job with it. The actual staircase, they messed up a window. They messed up a door, adding one where there wasn't one before. But it's just minor little things. But it, for all intents and purposes, it's the same building. So
I need to take a quick break. You'll forgive me in a moment.
will I?
A bug?
I don't know if I can forgive him.
What kind of bug was it so I can
Big
speak
ass
some?
fucking spider.
Yeah, I
Seriously?
don't forgive you.
Seriously?
There's this big green thing about the size of a quarter, and when I went to kill it with the paper plate, it jumped off the wall at me. But I killed it. I just got over saying, I'm thinking to myself yesterday, I haven't seen a spider in this apartment in almost 2 months. After seeing like how many dozens of our first week in here. Great, I'm not gonna sleep tonight. Fuck. Anyway, back to the Vampire Diaries. This commercial break brought to you by I don't know what kind of spider it was.
A green leaf spider.
No.
Yes.
I think it might have been a yellow sac spider. Anyway, back to you, Dom.
It was a green leaf spider. So, do you guys think Damon is eventually going to kill Aaron, or do you think he's going to let it go at this point?
Basically, if he kills Aaron now, with Elena being by his side, and Elena actually, having, she's soft on Aaron, meaning she likes him as a friend, and he ends up killing Aaron, Elena's gonna kick his ass. So I think out of fear with Elena and stuff, he's just not gonna do it. He's gonna let it go. But then again, Aaron is, if he wants to keep with his plan, Aaron is the last one in the whole
Whitmore.
Whitmore line. Um, he said that his plan was to, kill to the last one, let them go for a couple generations, and then kill until the last one, and so forth. So he could be just playing it out and leave him alone just because he wants to keep going with his diabolical plan.
He could have kids, and then he could kill them.
Well, yeah, but that's the point is the couple generations, and then he gets to have the
That's what I
pleasure
said.
of
Do you
going
think
through
he's
and killing
eventually
them
going to kill him, or do you think he's just going to stop?
all. If Elena's still by his side or still around, she's probably gonna make sure he doesn't.
Maybe. I don't know if you can watch. He snuck away. She didn't even know.
Yeah, he snuck away that time because she didn't know, but now that she does, she's gonna be keeping a close eye on Aaron and his family.
Yeah, that's actually. Yeah, he probably won't be able to sneak away anymore now because she's gonna probably notice every time he's absent for a big, an extended period of time,
Yeah.
and think,
Who's he killing now?
Where are you
Who's he
going
killing
now?
No, she's gonna go straight to who's he killing now?
Yeah. Well,
Yep.
so Stefan and Damon, they go bargain with Aaron's life and try to threaten Wes, and they kind of go back and forth, and eventually Dr. Maxfield tells him to go meet in his office at school or whatever, and he sends Enzo out to go meet up with them. Enzo goes on this really long rant of his story, which seemed very redundant because we had just learned about the story in the episode before, so I thought it was a little bad timing on the storytelling. But the comedy of it was the fact that he really just wanted to get this story out, and he I don't know, it was really funny,
Yeah.
that whole scene. I definitely let out a chuckle.
Yeah, I let out a couple chuckles too. I kind of like Denzo, somewhat.
Yeah. So
I mean, he just it reminded me of this Vine I saw where this guy's just telling a story and someone interrupts and he gets up, folds the chair and slaps the guy like it's my story time. It's kind of the thing I got from this whole thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
So do you think this is the first time Dr. Maxfield's let him out, or has he been out other times, Enzo?
I don't know. The way that Maxfield tells the story about Megan is that she got too close to the cage, and he ripped her throat out. Which I think, for experiment's sake, that he actually let Enzo out at that party, just to see what would happen. Just to see if one of his experiments worked or something like that. So I don't think it was the first time he's been let out, but he's obviously restricted and limited on where he goes and how much time he spends out.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess. Elaine is strapped down to Dr. Maxfield's operating table, I guess, at this time. And before Stefan and Damon have a chance to actually free her, Wes plans to turn her into a vampire that wants to feed off of other vampires exclusively. He then proceeds and stabs her with the needle. Do you think any of it got into her before Stefan was able to interrupt, or?
That's going to come into play later. I think that's where the end of the season's going to end up. Is she's going to have some sort of like, I don't know, symptom where she feels like she needs more than human blood. But that's all it's going to really go. But they're going to be really concerned about it because she's a vampire who wants to eat vampires. They don't want that. So
No.
I think this is where the rumored Klaus crossover comes into play. So he might give her a little bit of his hybrid blood to help cure her of this ailment.
Would that work, though?
Who knows?
We don't know.
We don't know.
We don't even know if any of that got into her.
We don't know.
Because, he jabbed it in her, but he was interrupted. And when we saw the needle again, the plunger was not pushed down. It was still full. So if any got in her, it was just the tiniest amount. And would that make a difference?
We don't know.
Exactly, we don't know. So it can go either way at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, something to keep asking as we go along. We'll keep
Yep.
watch for.
So Enzo, he stated that Damon was the only person that was important in his life, and that Damon ruined him, and that he'll always be a monster. Damon just the next scene, literally the next scene, he goes over and breaks up with Elena. Do you think that conversation right there is what caused him to break up with Elena? Thank you for blowing my ears out.
Yeah, that was amazing. Thank you very much.
What I do?
You moved your microphone and blew into it.
I didn't touch my microphone. The microphone has been steady and the whole
You know
night.
what? You didn't hear it, we did, and it's your fault. Thank you. Okay, we're going on now. Why did Damon break up with Elena? Because he wants to be free. He wants to do what he wants to do, and Elena's like, she's like, why did you go kill these people? You shouldn't have done that. She's obviously judging him from afar, even though she's like, I love you for who you are right now, not for what you did. But what you did was 3 months ago, so he's probably thinking like, okay, she's gonna hate me sooner or later, so I'm just gonna stop right now, and I'm just gonna end it.
But do you feel that because Enzo stated that he ruined his life, that he feels like he's ruining Elena's?
Oh, of course. He thinks that he's probably like, I don't know. It's tough because I see it from Elena's point of view where she's like, I love you, but just behave, please.
Yeah.
You're different than you were now, or were then. And he sees it as, yes, he's going to ruin her life because he can't stop doing the bad things that he wants to do. He just doesn't have that filter, that limitation set at all. He just does what he wants to do. And it's probably building up because Elena's been holding him back for what? How many months now? 5?
Yeah. He's kind of been on a short leash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, she's not purposely holding him on that leash, but he feels like it because she's really good.
So, are you guys excited that we may get the Damon back that we've been asking for?
Definitely.
Yeah, I'm kind of
Definitely.
interested. I used to love that Damon.
As soon as I
I
heard,
still love Damon, but
that 3 months prior to that he had gone and he had done something behind Elena's back and he had killed people, I was like, I'm thinking killing people isn't a good thing, but for Damon, this is an amazing thing.
Yeah. Definitely. I'm very excited at the potential here. But the only thing that worries me is Elena. Do you think she's going to give up on Damon so easily?
No. I don't think she has it in her. She's actually pretty motivated, and that even like they say, like when when you go from human to vampire, all your traits are multiplied, magnified. One of her traits was that she was really motivated, whether it be like to kill herself or to make someone feel better or anything like that. She's done a lot of things in her human life that if she were to have done it as a vampire instead, it would have been done 10 times worse or better.
Right. Yep. So then we have Nadia. She kind of gives up on Catherine at this point. She sits down with Matt. She hands Matt the Traveler's Dagger. She wants to entrust it with someone that if Catherine decides to change her mind, that she has some way to switch bodies and get into another place. Why do you think she entrusted Matt with the dagger and not somebody else that was maybe a little more important to the storyline?
for probably that exact reason. I mean, Matt. We had him, hosting. What was his name? Gregor.
Gregor.
Yeah. Other than that, Matt has been pretty unimportant this season.
Well,
It's been pretty unimportant this whole series.
yeah,
So-
that was actually his most important role.
So
Yeah.
they probably want to keep him as an important character, because that's the only
Well-
reason I could see giving him the dagger.
They want to give him a more important feeling for the story.
They want to make him
Because
feel
if-
special.
They want the viewers to see him as a special person because he's entrusted with this magical dagger that can do this and this and this. Whereas if they would have given it to Stefan or Elena, Matt would just disappear again. He'd be, busting tables at the grill.
Do what you do best, right?
Oh yeah.
Do you think it had anything to do with the fact that him and Nadia had hooked up over the summer?
There's that. There is that. I mean, maybe she does feel some sort of connection with him and that she can trust him. There is that, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think we'll see possible reconnection and get some love interest for Matt going on here? I mean, Gregor's out of the picture.
Maybe.
I don't know. I mean,
I don't know. I can't. I guess sure. I don't care either way. I mean, I've never really cared about Matt, to sound heartless. Like, he's just a character that's there. So.
Michael.
What?
Stop playing with whatever you're playing with.
I'm not playing with anything.
As I hear him put it down.
Chopsticks.
But he's not playing with anything.
Yeah, okay.
I wasn't until you said stop playing with something, so then I picked up the chopsticks and started playing with them.
We heard them.
They were being played with before that point, but whatever.
I'll come out with the dart gun again.
So, Catherine, she just really wants redemption at this point. That's all she really wants out of anyone. She knows she can't have Stefan, but she's just looking for some kind of redemption. Do you think she deserves it?
You look at, I mean, both Stefan and Damon, they have done horrible things, and yet they still get good sides of things. Like, Stefan was the Ripper for how many years? He came out of that, and now he's like the shining boy of goodness, so to speak.
The shining boy of goodness.
So to speak.
So to speak. I mean, he has done some questionable things lately, but, I mean, not like gone out and murdered a whole family like Damon. But, I mean, he still gets the girl at the end, so, I mean...
Who better than him?
So, I mean, Catherine, I mean, does she deserve it? Maybe not, but can she have it? Yes, definitely.
She's got more to make up for than... I mean, Stefan's what? He was around pre-Civil War... So he's like, 160, 170, something like that. And so what? He was Ripper for what? 75% of that?
Doesn't matter. He killed a lot of people.
He killed a lot of people and everything. But Catherine's been around for 500 years, and she's been the survivor the whole time.
She's just been a self-centered bitch.
Yeah, she's been a self-centered bitch the entire time, killing anybody who got in her way or just disagreed with her or just wasn't part of her plan for survival. So she has a lot more to make up for.
Exactly, survival. She was running from Klaus, from Elijah. She was running from the originals the whole time. So if someone got in her way and she needed to get out, she was going to kill them to save herself. So, I mean, things that, didn't have to do with survival, maybe she should, she needs to, buck up for that. But I think, for her to defending herself, I mean, that's questionable depending on what exactly she did.
So,
I mean...
Do I smell a Catherine fan?
I do. I really do enjoy Catherine's character.
That's what that smell is.
I mean, without Catherine, we'd only have Damon for the, evil giggles. Catherine really does have some pretty awesome lines, and some of the things she does, it's like she's always one step ahead, and she's a genius. So you have to like her.
Yeah.
You kind of do have to like her. That's
the
thing.
Yeah. Well, she decides she is not ready to die after all, and she calls Nadia up. She's ready to jump into another body, just like her grandfather or her father rather, Nadia's grandfather. What do you guys think of the idea of Catherine potentially being played by another actress?
Nadia is gonna find another doppelganger of Elena.
God, can you imagine?
That's where, unless it's a vampire already, I don't see it happening because Elena just turned into a vampire, which means that she was a 19, 20-year-old, whatever, doppelganger. The way the doppelgangers are is they come every so often. They're not going to have, like, 5 doppelgangers all the same age spring up around each other.
Just you wait. There's going to be some loophole, and another doppelganger of Elena, of Amora, of Catherine, of all them other chicks.
It would have to be an immortal being. It would have to be another vampire.
Even better for Catherine. Immortal? She's going to be back to not dying ever again.
Right, exactly. But Amara's dead, right?
Yes, but there are other immortal beings out there.
True, there are. They'd have to have another immortal being, because if I understand the way they explained it correctly, there's going to be no more doppelgangers of Elena, because the imbalance in nature has been corrected. Nature no longer has to produce doppelgangers to correct for that unholy imbalance.
As of now. They don't have to produce them anymore as of now. If this happened before, say maybe this doppelganger is 100 years old, somehow she's not aged, that was before all this went down.
All right, so I mean,
what about her potentially being a completely new actress? Would you guys be happy with that? Would that be satisfying to you?
Part of the thing that allured me to this whole show is Nina Dobrev playing 2 or more people.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I've always found it interesting for actors or actresses to play the twins role when there's really only one of them. Yeah. So
I don't really see another actress.
Kind of like Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen.
Yeah, but they're actual twins, though.
Yeah, no.
So
I should have said Michelle Tanner.
Oh God, you should have said the Linda Hamilton, the chick who played Sarah Connor. She actually had a twin. So yeah, that's always interesting. Like, that's always been, I don't know, not interested in me, but always been something I've admired.
So being you feel you'd be cheated if another actress played her.
Kinda.
All right, so let me throw this wild theory at you guys.
Toss it.
What if she goes into Elena?
They would only do that for a short amount of time. There's no way that they would keep it that way.
All of a sudden, Elena is playing Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Oh my God.
That would be entertaining.
It would entertaining for an episode, but I would be sick of it by the second.
It doesn't have to be a frequent thing. Like, she can only be called out. Like, how does she take over the body? Like, we don't know. So she may not be able. She might be dormant for a while. She might not be. There's a lot of possibility there, which she doesn't have to be in control all the time. And half the time, you may not even know she's there, which would make a very interesting dynamic.
That'd be amazing. Because, I mean, I already appreciate the actress playing multiple different roles. And now that would make it easier for them. They don't have to, shoot the same scene twice and, cut and paste it together. She just, snaps.
I could see them going the whole rest of the season like that.
She switches the flip, and then all of a sudden, she's a different person.
I don't know. Catherine is one of those I'm in the center of everything people, so I don't think she'd give Elena a chance to come out and say hi.
Well, there's another thing too. She takes over Elena's body and refuses to let her conscience come forward, and then the brothers are trying to figure out how to expel her.
That would only last a couple episodes.
Hidden. Maybe, I don't know. There's a lot of room. There's a lot of room for some stuff there.
I don't like that idea. It's the worst idea ever.
I like the idea of her sharing the body with Elena for a while. I think it would be an entertaining prospect, but everything else to come of it, I don't like.
I don't know. I think there's a lot of room for some growth there. But we'll see.
We'll see. I mean, that's definitely entertaining.
I mean, right as she makes this decision, she all of a sudden her left arm goes numb. You see, she grabs her chest. She has a heart attack. She falls down the stairs, and Nadia is just screaming for her over the phone. Do you think she's dead? So you mean to tell me that this is going to be the second false death we've had of Catherine?
Yeah, they're not gonna
The
outright.
same season?
They're not gonna just straight up kill Catherine in a quick and easy manner like that.
No, it's too exactly. It's too quick and easy for Catherine. The people who hate Catherine want to see her lay there and suffer, and that's what's going to happen until they fix her.
Right.
So
Well,
yeah, she. I mean, having a heart attack, falling down the stairs, head injury plus heart attack. That doesn't. It doesn't help. I don't think she's dead. Someone's gonna find her in time and save her.
right. So the next episode is actually called 500 Years of Solitude. 500 Years of Solitude is definitely a reference to Catherine.
Oh yeah,
She's the only 500-year-old vampire that we know of right now.
and the solitude part.
Then this is their 100th episode. So they definitely have some fun stuff planned. I was reading a lot of stuff that why do I always have her name and now I can't think of it? Julie Plec. Julie Plec has teased us on Twitter. She said there's a lot of fun stuff to come. She goes, everything that you could imagine to expect out of this, you're probably going to get it. So there's no official synopsis, but there was a 30-second little preview video, and out of it, you clearly see Catherine's dying.
Mm-hmm.
She's not dead.
Stefan
doesn't believe she's going to make it through the day. And he has this conversation with Nadia. Then you see Damon, Helena, Jeremy, Bonnie, Caroline. They're sitting around. They're reminiscing of some of the lesser moments that they've spent with Catherine. And Stefan is in the room with Catherine. And you hear Jeremy explaining his least fondest memory of Catherine is she killed him. And
Duh. Okay.
It's probably Caroline's.
and then Caroline says, "Yeah, well, she killed me too." And then it cuts to Catherine going, "Oops," like sitting on her bed or whatever. And Stefan said, or no, between those two, she goes to Stefan. She goes, "They're talking about me, aren't they?" And he's like, "Yeah, just a little bit," or something like that. And then it cuts to Caroline saying, "Yeah, she killed me too," or whatever. And then it cuts back to Catherine going, "Oops." Or, I don't know. It was funny. It was funny.
And that's
the way
what
they
I
played it
meant.
out.
That she has those lines where you just gotta giggle about them, even though she's evil.
Yeah.
Evil.
So it seems like we're gonna have a very flashback heavy episode with a lot of reminiscing of Catherine's stories, and we already know Klaus is gonna be in this episode. We know Aunt Jenna is gonna be in this episode. We kind of wondered how they're gonna play into it. So we don't know if Klaus is actually going to come back or if we're just gonna see Klaus in flashbacks. Jenna, we know we're only gonna see in flashbacks. She's dead.
Yeah,
There's no other
dead.
way we're gonna see her. Do you guys think we're gonna see Anna and her mother and stuff like that too?
Maybe. I mean, if they do a flashback with a lot of major characters that they've had, being, it's
Well,
the
I mean,
100th special, then
The veil isn't gone, so Anna and her mother are still both supernatural beings. They can cross over and they can talk to Bonnie, Jeremy, whenever they please. So it is possible we might see one of them in a conversation with Bonnie. Flashbacks definitely possible, but I think Julie's probably going more along the lines of causing some ruckus with some of the supernatural beings coming forward again.
Because there's also Alaric. Don't forget Alaric.
Mm-hmm.
Matt Davis has been clamoring to get back on this show. They've said that they'd love to get him back on, but they feel like if they just write anybody back into the show at any point, that you don't appreciate the characters and you take them for granted and always expect them to return. And they had a very big opportunity to just bring him back onto the show at the end of last season, and they chose not to.
Right.
So it was a very bold move. It's a very loved character. So we're definitely, I'm going to go out there and I'm saying it now, we're definitely seeing Matt Davis come back as the Lark. He's going to be in this episode. There's no doubt in my mind.
His character is amazing.
Whether or not it's just a flashback or whether or not it's him speaking through Bonnie as the anchor or whatever, that's yet to remain to be seen, but he's going to be in the episode.
Yeah, I agree. He's going to definitely be in the episode. I don't think he's going to be a permanent re-edition,
No.
as much as I would love it. But as you said, we would then expect they wouldn't be able to seriously kill off any character because we'd always expect them to come back.
Especially if they were supernatural.
Yeah, I know and I agree it was a bold move to not bring him back, but I agree with them. It was the right move, I think,
100%.
because there would if they, again, there'd be no way we could take any character death seriously. I mean, we barely can already. Like you said,
Yeah,
Catherine has
Bonnie-
died twice now this season.
Bonnie, Jeremy, Catherine, like they've been coming back a lot lately.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, someone's got to stay dead.
Yeah. So the prospect of bringing Anna back, she kind of got me thinking. She was the reason why Jeremy and Bonnie split up the first time. Like, that's why they broke up, was because when Bonnie originally brought Jeremy back from the dead, Jeremy was able to see on the other side. He was kind of having this little side relationship with Anna, and he was keeping it a secret, and it put a wedge between him and Bonnie and pulled them apart. Do you think now that Bonnie's dead, resurrected, she's the anchor, her potentially seeing Anna, if such a meeting was to exist, do you foresee it either causing problems between them, or do you think it's going to kind of close that chapter?
I don't see Anna as a manipulative person at all. I think she's a really nice person. So if she's going to talk to Bonnie, it's going to be like, you're so lucky, and I feel sorry for you being the anchor. It's going to be a sympathetic and, a heartfelt conversation. It's not going to be like, tee hee hee, I can go see Jeremy anytime I want. And, she's not going to do that.
It may cause an issue briefly.
At first.
But I think it's going to do both. It's going to cause an issue, and then it's going to close the chapter. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
I don't see Anna, purposely trying to cause problems. It might be, one of those awkward moments when Anna approaches Bonnie and is like, so,
Hi.
What's up? And then, they will talk and they will figure things out.
Yeah, probably. I don't know. What are you guys' expectations for their 100th episode? What do you guys plan?
Lots of parties and music and streamers and balloons and alcohol. Oh wait, no, that'd be my 100th episode if that ever happened.
I think that's what happened with all the actors. But
Yeah.
anyway,
Yeah, I'm almost positive that's what the actors did.
I'm expecting just a nice, revisit to old loved characters, and I don't know, just a nice,
Or they could do some sort of apocalyptic thing where everybody dies. And then next episode's like, oh yeah, that didn't happen, but hey, that was fun, right?
Yeah, right. We killed off every character, and then, we just find out at the end of the episode it was a bad dream that one of them had. Very cliche, but
Yeah.
still, it would make me laugh.
Very, very Bob Newhart.
Yes. Anyway, when do we have the next episode? The 16th?
The 23rd or the 16th? I'm not sure. One of those two. January 16th or 23rd.
I think I think it comes back the same week as Originals and Shield, which would be the 14th.
Could be. So, my question to you guys is this episode right here that we're filming right now is our 80th episode of all our podcast series. All right. Do you think we're going to beat the Vampire Diaries
No.
to 100 episodes? That's 20 episodes to record.
Unfortunately,
We won't.
we won't, because all of our shows are on midwinter break. The first one that picks back up is American Horror Story. There's not going to be 20 episodes between now and when Vampire Diaries pick back
We
up.
might get another 5 episodes before
Maybe,
Vampire Diaries.
if that. Unless we started pumping out, our As Seen on the Big Screen episodes. Unless we started pumping them out, then I don't see a way that we're going to beat it to 100.
Let's start pumping out mid-season recap shows.
Sure,
Or
why the
we
hell
could,
not?
or we could do talks about classics that we've watched recently.
Yeah, we can do Mars attacks. It'd just be the whole episode of Omi saying how she, thought this was going to happen or that was going to happen, and me and Dom conversing like,
I'm gonna kill you guys.
Yes, tune in for a half hour of Omi face palming and us both just going,
Omikins, where can the people find you?
They can find me on Twitter at LadyVenom24, LadyVenom24.
Mike, where can the people find you?
The way I've treated her tonight, probably in the grave in about 5 minutes, but they could find me on Twitter at Thilladren, THILLADREN.
You can find me on Twitter at twitter.com/Phenomedom, PHENOMEDOM. There it is. And you can find us all on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Google+, Gmail, ASOTV podcast. Do it. Do it now.
Toss us a tweet, toss us a message, toss us an email, toss us a commentary.
Toss us salad. I don't care.
God damn it, Tom.
There'll be cherry tomatoes in that salad.
I'm already gonna be playing clusterfuck tomorrow. That game just seems horrible. It seems like a fun game, just horrifying.
Oh, you took it. I wanted to show people. You were the worst.
A quick 10-second thing. The point of this game is to sit in a circle, pass flirtatious notes among your friends while playing, and then you all close your eyes and point at each other. And whoever's pointing at each other, they screw each other and get a point. Whether you actually screw each other or not is, I think, based on your own discretion.
Well,